one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Heavenly Father, we want to thank you for today. It's many opportunities and blessings. We ask that you guide us to, with wisdom, make the best decisions and choices with the best intent for Riverton in mind. We ask that you look over and bless the firefighters who are out there fighting the many fires across the West Coast here. And Lord, we just want to thank you for today and this opportunity to do our best for the citizens here. And this we pray in your name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, guys. Would the Deputy City Clerk please conduct a roll call?
Yes, Your Honor. Councilwoman Carla Borders.
Here.
Councilman Tim Hancock.
Here.
Councilman Mike Bailey.
Here.
Councilwoman Rebecca Schatza.
Here.
Councilman Kyle Larson.
Here.
Councilman Corey Rhoda.
Here.
Mayor Richard Gard.
Here. I declare a quorum is present. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
Councilwoman Schatza has the motion, and Councilwoman Borders has the second. Council discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Communication from the floor. Anyone in the audience wishing to address the council regarding an item that is on, that is scheduled for a public hearing will be given the opportunity to speak during that public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the council on another item may speak now. I would ask those individuals who wish to address the council at this time to approach the podium and identify yourself for the record.
Good evening. I'm Larry Wallace with Wind River Animal Welfare Association. I was here speaking with you last year about the issue of deer reduction plans, and I noticed in the recent paper report that there's a plan to reduce the deer population within city limits again this year by 50 animals. So I was a bit surprised and shocked. About 20 years ago, when I first came out here from the Midwest on a vacation, I got a little video from the local visitor center, and it talked about what a nice place Riverton was to retire to. And so I was thinking ahead in that direction, and thinking it would be a great place to view wildlife and be able to travel around outdoor and do different activities. So when this issue came up last year for the first time, I thought maybe it was just an occasional kind of thing, but I'm wondering after the announcement this year if it's going to be an annual event, of reducing the deer population. Last year I emphasized that in all the years I lived around Riverton, I've never actually hit an animal within the city limits. And the same things happened between last year and this year. Is again, I've seen animals on the road. I've slowed down, used my headlights or my horn to move them out of the way. And I understand there have been also some complaints about animals intruding on property, maybe eating flowers or garden areas. But hey, a strong fence will hold back just about anything. This is what our president says. So maybe a 30-foot fence might be necessary in some cases. But I think that it's something that I don't think the city wants to develop a reputation about, having an annual event like this, unless you want to publicize it and invite people to come in to watch the shooting in progress. That, I don't know, might thrill some people, but it might turn off others. Another thing I wanted to mention is there was some indication that you're going to discuss a logo sign design for the city. And one option I would suggest, if you're serious about the deer reduction continuing on an annual basis, is to have the image of a shooter shooting down a few deer, in front of City Hall. And this might, be a rather interesting design, very unusual design for a logo. So, again, I ask you to maybe reconsider this as a regular event in the city. I travel out beyond the city limits and see a lot of animals cut down on the roadway as the speed limit is advanced outside the city limits. And so I myself would like to see measures taken to preserve the wildlife rather than just to give another reason to shoot them down.
Thanks, Larry. Anyone else? Would the deputy city clerk please read the consent agenda items by title only?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Approval of the minutes September 1st, 2020 regular council meeting. Approval of the minutes September 8th, 2020 work session meeting. Approval of the minutes September 15th, 2020 finance committee meeting. Approval of the finance committee recommendations for September 15th, 2020. Approval of the municipal court report for the month of August 2020. And an open container permit application, which was received from the downtowners for the Fall Festival on Main Street, which would be from 1st Street to 7th Street, and in front of Bar 10 on Broadway from Main Street to Washington Avenue from 2 p.m. to 12 a.m. on September 26, 2020.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any items requiring further discussion?
Your Honor,
Thank you.
the Finance Committee met earlier before this meeting, and in consideration of claims to be paid in the amount of $331,180.59, the Elan credit card in the amount of $10,052.12, manual check in the amount of $72, payroll and liabilities in the amount of $434,780.83, for a total of $776,085.54.
Thank you. Councilman Bailey.
In Your Honor, I will abstain from the Bailey Enterprises item on the Finance Committee report.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented.
So moved.
Second?
Councilwoman Schatz has a motion. Councilman Rhoda has a second. Council discussion. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Item 9, the award of a fleet shop crane, Operation Director's Management report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor, Council. After the budget, we had a crane inspection in our Public Works mechanic shop. I believe the crane was probably original to the building. It did not pass inspection. Parts were not available to repair the old crane mechanism itself. We use this crane very frequently, generally daily, for one thing or another, especially on garbage trucks. We went ahead and went to bid on this project, seeking to replace the crane itself, not the rails or the bridge inside the shop. We'll use the existing. Been told it can be maintained or salvaged. So actually the only thing we're replacing would be the actual crane itself. American Equipment LLC, they have an office in Casper. Well, they have several offices around the state, but they were the only and low bidder. They were responsive with a price of $62,500 to do the project. Be our recommendation to go ahead and move forward and award the bid to them. There are sufficient cash available to cover the project.
Thank you. Appreciate that. The chair would entertain a motion to award the purchase of a mechanical shop crane from American Equipment LLC in the amount of $62,560.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Larson has the motion. Second is Councilwoman Schatz. Further discussion. This is a 7.5-ton crane, correct?
Correct.
And so according to the report, it's 40 years old, we believe?
Yeah, based on the information I've been able to get from previous owners who had the building, it was installed prior to them opening it. They estimate it was in the early 70s.
Is it currently a 7.5-ton
Yes,
unit? So we're just replacing the same tonnage.
yeah, they actually had 2 cranes down there. One was taken out of service prior to my coming to work for the city. This is the only other crane. The entire system is only rated at 7.5 tons, so with 2 cranes, you split that difference. So we get by with using just the one crane. It's been sufficient.
When we went to bid, we only got one bidder. Is that any reason for that, you think, or?
I don't know, we went on public purchase and advertised nationwide, so.
It's pretty small.
Yeah, it's not an overly large crane, but probably pretty good for our size, so
It is sufficient for the work we do.
appreciate that. Appreciate it that it's a Wyoming firm too, so thank you. No other discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Consideration of the new city logo design. City Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. At the most recent work session, council saw the deliverables for the new logo design. At that time, we did look over the 3 options and discuss the entire process that went into that, so I won't belabor that point any further. At the time, the recommendation from both Herman Global and staff, and based on the responses that we had, denoted option C as the desirable option, and as such, we have presented to you within your packet the final version of option C, and we recommend it for your approval. If approved, we have since that time in the last week received some feedback on it, and it has been positive. We've even had, with the upcoming Fall Festival, we've had individuals talk to us about being able to use it, maybe possibly put it on a shirt or something and start using it as soon as the Fall Festival, which is really nice. I'm sure there's been comments online, but to be honest with you, I didn't see them. So if someone else did, but the in-person people calling us, or myself, what I had received was all positive on that one. We expect that at times, anytime you change logos or add something, there'll be ups and downs to that. But at this point, we feel that the option that is presented to you, which does have the larger basket, which we showed last time, and is provided as the only option in your packet right now, is the best. And we recommend approval, and then we'll get to getting our final documents, if approved, and start putting that on some of the items like letterhead, and you'll start seeing that sooner rather than later. That's all, Your Honor.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the logo option number 3 for the general use by the city.
So moved.
Second.
Councilman Rhoda has the motion, and Councilwoman Schatz has the second. Further discussion, if any? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Item 11 is the consideration of State Loan and Investment Board, the SLIB grant. City Administrator's report, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Through the SLIB process, with regard to CARES Act funding, the city did make 2 applications for funding. One was in association with the hospital, totaling $5,210,000. The second one was for our expenses, both already incurred and proposed, for a total of $300,746. We've gone over those in the past, and that did include items such as vehicles, and Brian did a very nice job of putting together some of the options for those vehicles that we proposed to purchase. We are all very aware that the hospital one was not funded. Our other application was funded in part. Specifically, they cut out, to make it simple, they cut out all the vehicles and left everything else. So that amount totals $74,886. So all of the cleaning equipment, the staff time, keeping in mind that even if approved, we still have other items that we have to provide based on the standards of the SLIB board, of SLIB. So this number could decrease in terms of actual numbers, the actual dollars that we receive depending on what they'll accept and not accept. However, at this point, we do recommend that the agreement be approved so we can move forward with attempting to recoup some of those dollars that we've already spent in terms of personnel time and purchases, and look towards the purchase of some of the items that we had already intended to buy, such as sanitation equipment, specific sanitation equipment. If you will look around, like over here, you'll see the dispenser. That is something that was listed on there. Those run about $100 a piece by the time you get done with it. And so we asked for 10 of them. We purchased those. And so that's one of the easy ones. We'll get that back, but that's only at the end of the day $1,000. Some of the other things, personnel time and the like, are the ones that usually get to be a little bit challenging because they put a lot of rules on those. With that said, Your Honor, we recommend approval and would be happy to answer any questions at your leisure.
Thank you. The chair would entertain a motion to approve the SLIB grant amount as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Councilwoman Borders has the motion. Councilman Bailey has the second. Further discussion?
Mayor, if I may, just one question. Tony, you mentioned that there's a chance it may decrease. I know this is kind of a stretch, but is there any chance it's going to increase?
Your Honor, no.
Okay.
If we were to, with regard to this application, no. We could submit a whole new application, and if we can get through this in good order, that might be something that we look to. One of the challenges that we have, so council is aware, is that trying to justify based on their standards that X percentage of the time of any particular individual actually goes directly towards COVID-related items gets a little bit challenging when, yes, we know a lot of our time is spent, but it's also in part over here and over there, and then trying to document that. It does become a bit challenging, but we do our best. So we could possibly see a different application still come, but we need to get through this part first to see what we actually have to do to even try for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say nay. Motion passes. Roundtable reports from council members. Carla, you want to start us off?
Your Honor, I really don't have anything other than, of course, the Finance Committee met this evening. We have some fun activities coming up. I'll let Rebecca talk about the Rendezvous Games. I know we've got the Fall Festival, lots of fun things to do. Farmers markets are still going, so I hope everybody partakes and takes advantage of it while the weather's nice. That's it.
Thank you. Tim?
Recreation Board met, approved a couple of bills. We still have money. I know that the County Rec Board, for example, might not necessarily still fund things at this point. They're kind of strict in terms of timeline, but I think we'd probably be open to request even at this late point. So I guess if somebody has some good ideas, get an application in. But that's all I have.
Mike?
Thank you, Your Honor. Again, I did attend the Force Committee meeting. We ended up not having a quorum, but we did have some good discussion on, again, the ongoing process of analyzing which projects we might put on the agenda for next year, and being in the planning stages of those and sort of rating which projects are more important than others. Again, they did go over that, the East Sunset project is getting closer to being completed. We saw some pictures of some steel water lines that they pulled out of the ground that had golf ball-sized holes in them that were, from Mr. Toman's estimate, losing millions of gallons a month out of those holes that they pulled out of that. So again, that was dumped that into the water table, causing street issues. And so, again, I think the Force Committee and the 1 cent Force committee tax that we're generating is being put to good use in updating our infrastructure and saving the city money on producing water that we're just running out in the ground and stuff like that. So, other than that, I don't have anything else. Thank you.
Thank you. Rebecca?
Yes, Your Honor. As we know, the Pause group had to cancel their big fundraiser, the Paws and Pearls fundraiser, which is their biggest fundraiser of the year due to COVID restrictions. So currently they actually have an online silent auction. So if you have Facebook, go ahead and check out their Facebook page. It's Pause for Life. And then there's an album in there that has different auction items, and they are adding auction items every day. Different types of things, really neat stuff. Baskets full of stuff for cats, baskets full of stuff for dogs, wine lovers, pictures, all kinds of stuff. So take a look at that, and know that those silent auctions are awesome because you're giving your money to a great cause, but you're also getting something back for it. So you're paying a little bit more so for something that you wouldn't normally pay. You're also supporting a really, really great cause. So please support Pause that way, any way you can. They are also, of course, always taking donations, food for the animals, cleaning supplies, that type of stuff. They are struggling this year because most of all of their funds are through fundraising. So please give them that love there. Community Engagement Committee, we're just finishing up the planning for the Rendezvous Games. You have till next Monday to register your team, so make sure you're getting your team registered. You can register through the city. If you have questions, you can contact the city or you can contact me. We do need a few more teams. We only have one as of right now, last time I checked. So, and they've been messaging me every day asking the status update because they want some competition. So please get your teams in there. They really want to do it. I know it's a busy time of the year with hunting season and kids sports, but it's a really fun time. And then with the fall festivals happening immediately after, I've been seeing a lot of the local entrepreneurs, those that make different types of crafts and stuff. They're all going to be out there, so make sure you're going and supporting those people that haven't got to go around the state this summer and sell their items. They'll be out there, so that's really exciting to see our local community still being able to make money out there and do that kind of stuff. And awesome for that Fall Festival Committee, because there's stuff, all kinds of things going on, chili cook-off, pumpkin bowling, the different vendors, food, dancing, cornhole tournaments. It's going to be a really great time. So if you have friends from out of town, have them come over and join us in that a really good time. They're putting a lot of work into it. So just want to say thank you to them for doing that. And other than that, Your Honor, that's all I have.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Kyle?
The city of Riverton's been outdoing itself, marking the new blacktop on Sunset and crosswalks, and that is a pleasure to drive on that area, finally. We're still waiting for Maple to get through its, but I saw them pushing the subgrade, so that shouldn't be too far away. Solutions Committee won't be meeting until October 13th, and so we're holding back on that. But the downtowners have done an excellent job, and that's going to be fun. So if you like chili, that'll be a real feast. You can go down there with and eat a lot of chili.
I think it was like $5 to eat all the chili you want. So good deal.
It is a good deal. And those donations go to charity here in town. So that is a worthy cause. So we appreciate everybody that would come down and buy some chili. Corey?
Mayor, I'll just reiterate a little bit with the rec board. We do have some funding available. So as far as beautification and recreation, it does have to be spent by December, I believe. So it's a fairly short time frame, but if you're a go-getter, there's plenty of time to do that. I did want to applaud S&S Construction. I feel like those guys are flying up Main Street doing those curbs and everything up there. So I really did want to give them a big shout out. And then our new animal control, is it Miss Sanderson? Is that correct?
Yes.
So she got to have a little run-in with my sister-in-law, and they had a pig running around that they had to wrangle up. And they seen the neighbor out there, and he actually lassoed the pig to catch it. And they had to keep it in my sister-in-law's yard until they could find the owner. So tell her she did a great job taking care of that. I'm sure it's not often they chase pigs.
The owner of that pig is just a couple blocks from your house.
We found that's pretty far distance for a pig, but I didn't realize that. Didn't realize that. But anyways,
Pigs all
lo and behold, she got to wrangle up a pig, and I thought that was pretty dang fun. So that is all that I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Do we have body cam footage of that?
We do not. We do have good pictures, though.
We should have some pictures of that. One of the scariest animals I've ever loaded are pigs. So they are interesting animals.
It's just a potbelly pig. It's
it was-
housebroken.
Was this was a pot-bellied pig?
It was a real small one, yeah. Is that what you call it, a potbelly pig?
No,
Yeah.
it was a regular pig.
No. It's my neighbor's pig.
Is it just a little pig?
I know my pigs. I was a pig farmer.
Well, okay. We'll have to see if we can get a leash law for a pig. Tony, your turn.
I don't know how to follow that, Your Honor. I really don't, but I'll try real hard. We have some really good news, actually, to start out with. Everybody remembers the Blue Sky grant that we applied for with regard to solar for the senior center. We found out actually yesterday that we received total funding on that. While it's no direct cost to the city, we are a pass-through agency. With that, council did approve that. That's a $39,000 grant for a $36,000 grant for a $59,000 project. And this is something, much credit to the team, and especially Eric Carr, who put this together and brought it forward, helped prepare it, helped with all the levels of work on that. So a very good job, and we're really happy that came through. So thank you, Eric. We did talk about rendezvous games in the fall festival. I received a call, and it looks like I'll be in good company. I get to judge the chili cook-off, so.
They got the right guy.
Yeah, they got 3 of them, I'm told. And Marion, you may be talking about the 56 permit. We did hear about that a little bit this evening. Regardless of the comments, we are looking for individuals who are interested in meat donation, especially. We're trying to get that program up and running. We've talked about it a little bit in this short time frame, but one of the things that we need 2 things that are real important to us right now. In order to make that happen, we do need property that, if you have deer and it's a good place for us to set something up, and you would be open to staff and possibly some volunteers at some point get accessing that property, we would be appreciative of that permission. That helps us. We are authorized for 50. The likelihood of us, to be honest with you, getting 50 deer in that short a time is difficult, but it is a multi-year process, and we'll be back at this again eventually. And the other one being meat donation. If an individual or an organization is willing to accept the harvested deer, we're required to donate that. And it can be a private individual, it can be an organization. We will be providing that in its entirety. It won't be pre-processed, so we're not paying for it to be processed. You can take it if you're one of the people that wants to receive that, and it's donated, and then you can process it and use it. We've had speaking of our animal control officer, she's been absolutely wonderful, helping set up this program as we start passing it down and start doing the implementation. We did a training with Game and Fish, because we have to do the CWD sampling, so they came in. Some of us went out there and learned how to do it, and it's interesting. There's a video. The last thing I guess I would add, Your Honor, is a reminder, the EDGE Committee is still accepting applicants until October, I believe it's October 2nd. we had to close it off at some point in order to be reasonable and start doing some of that training. So if anybody is interested, both in the public or if you know of anybody who's interested, please encourage them to apply so there are options. I know we've had some good interest on the onset, but as things keep going, we want to get that out there. About 2 weeks left to apply. The application is simple, and it is on our site. It is fillable. You can come in and fill one out if you want to. It can be provided to anybody on staff or the mayor. So we make it as easy as we possibly can, and we would encourage individuals to consider that as a form of service. It'll be an interesting board because they will, just like the Force Committee, have access to dollars. And that makes the service on a board a little more enjoyable sometimes, simply because you can get something done and it's not always talking or not always a policy item. So, Your Honor, with that, I have nothing else.
Curious, how many applications do we have so far?
I want to say, Your Honor, I would like to say about 9, which would be the total number of seats plus alternates. But we may have more by now. They tend to come into Kristen's office or through the email sometimes, so I'll double check.
Thank you.
Your Honor.
Rebecca?
I saw a question on a Facebook post, wondering if they live outside of Riverton city limits, but they work in Riverton, would they still be able to apply to be on that board, or do they have to live within city limits?
Your Honor?
Yeah.
The way we wrote that was intentional to say, we didn't say citizens of the city of Riverton. We said individuals. That was intentional, and it was so if there is an individual that owns a business, has an interest, has a skill set, so they can apply and be considered. That was our intent.
Encourage them, if they live outside the city, to do that. We would appreciate it. I would like to start off by thanking our police department with the current action that we see nationwide. It's not easy to be a policeman. I think last staff report, we were 3 down, and Chief was working hard to get those back. And we've had some growth in the police department. We got 2 dispatchers back, and a possible evidence clerk. We might switch from the 2 spots, right? And so I appreciate the police's effort and for their response to keep us safe. I really do appreciate that.
Yes, sir.
I also got a call just today from a census worker that's in charge of Riverton, and he asked if I wouldn't plead with the people of Riverton to get your applications in to the Census Bureau. That's a big deal, and he says that we're running maybe the chance of being hundreds of people down from where we would like to be, because people just aren't letting them come to their, and he realizes that with COVID, people don't want to answer their door and lots of other things, but they have mailed that out. If you have your paperwork, send that paperwork in. We would appreciate that. You would be surprised the funding that comes through the Census Division to the state of Wyoming and back to the municipalities, and so that's really important. He had a couple other things that are interesting that they do. He said it was a proxy program, and it didn't make a lot of sense to me, but they can actually ask neighbors about the next door neighbor's house and how many people live there. And so if you're not careful, that you're getting a proxy count on your property, and so you'd be better off to get a count that you were wanting to give. And the other thing that they're having problems with are loose dogs inside fences that like to bite census workers. So if you've got a dog, I would suggest, even though that it's inside your property, and he wanted to point out, do not sick your dog on the census worker. It's a federal offense. So I told him I would relay all of those things. The other thing that I really thought was important, and I watched this kind of diligently, the airport emplanements are at 313 today on the 12th. And so if that pace stays up, we're going to approach 780, 800 possible emplanements this month. My sister came up from Texas to put her daughter in college, and her husband flew into Idaho Falls, but they looked at the ticket prices and they drove clear back to Riverton and flew out of Riverton to Texas. So we are really fortunate to have the prices that we've got, the service that we've got, the availability. You can get right on the plane. It isn't a long wait, and so I would encourage everybody to use that service. I would like to thank Tony and Brendan this week with the snowstorm that hit us. The road work out on the Mountain View Road Water Project, the Phase 4, caught us a little bit unsuspecting, and we would like to apologize for those residents. Brendan got right in the middle of that. We put him in the truck, Tony and I, and the beatings commenced until he got the services fixed, and he got right after it. And the next day, it was improved, and I really do appreciate High Country for their efforts. I appreciate Brendan, Tony for his willingness to go along and to see the work that's there. We have some conversations with the Mountain View subdivision on their water tap. They're only going to put a water tap on that line. That 16-inch line goes past them, and they're going to put a 4-inch water tap that is just for emergencies. So if they ever lose their wells, the wells goes down, they can tap into the city and have it metered water. And they will, because they're outside of the city limits, they will be charged 1.5 times for that water. Is that correct, Mia? You're frowning. Did I get that wrong?
Your Honor, I don't know the exact number. I don't believe it's 1.5 times, but there is a set rate for in-city service and an out-of-city service fee.
So would you get that so I can go to,
On our website, so I'll pull it up.
when you have time? You don't have to do it right now, but that will be helpful for my conversations. So that is a real service, and one thing that we need to be cognizant of is they're kind enough to let us run that loop down their private subdivision roads. And we've brought it from the canal. They haven't dug under the canal yet, and they're going to wait until they can shut the canal off, and then they're going to bore underneath the canal and finally connect all sides of that. So we're fortunate for that. The 56 permit has got a few little problems in it where some people that have heard what we're doing think that they may have to use their own deer license to take a deer. This permit allows the city of Riverton to take 50 deer, and they are domestic deer. They have to be inside the city limits. We can't shoot outside of the city limits. We're authorized to use small caliber rifles and archery. The permit is a little bit different than regular hunting requirements. Tony points out to me that we can actually bait deer to those zones. We can do when you hunt out in the community, and I want to make sure everybody hears this. You cannot shoot deer in Riverton unless you're on this committee, and so we are going to have a meeting next Monday night in this facility to work with those individuals that are willing to do that. I believe we have 16 names that are on the list so far. Other requirements is we have to turn their names in to the Game and Fish and make sure that they're don't have any violations with Game and Fish. And there will be no trophy taking. The Game and Fish keeps all of the horns and all of those things. Once an animal's been harvested, we will test it for wasting disease. That test takes about 3 to 10 days. We have to hang that in a cool locker till that time. Tony said that that's what we need. Anyone in the community that would like to receive venison, they can have that venison when it comes back cleared. And all you got to do is call the city and get on the list. And they could have it on hoof, or they can take it to a processor and get it processed. Anyone that would like to donate, because the costs of that are going to be on the city, we would appreciate donations for that. We will be extremely discreet, and we will be extremely careful where we allow people to take animals. And so hopefully you won't even see that being done. So, yes,
We have an ordinance that says you can't feed the deer.
we do. And that's a good point, Councilman Larson. That's where we started this, right? We had to pass that ordinance to get the Game and Fish to go with us. And so for all of those, and I have only had one, and I got that today in today's email, one person that was disappointed about the taking of deer. And so I think we're on the right course. And I realize the deer are a pleasant sight, and we have plenty of deer in the state of Wyoming. My first option for the Game and Fish was that they could just load up their deer and take them out of town. And that, they didn't think that was a great idea. But somehow we have to reduce those because of the damage that we're getting inside the city limits. The car strikes that we're getting, about 12 plus a year. And so there's a number of good reasons for doing that. So number one, you can't take a deer and justify it in Riverton because they're standing in your yard. And so we will work on that. We only have 60 days to comply, and we're already, 15, 20 days into that? So we may not get that taken care of this year. We will by next year. I appreciate Larry's consistency, but we have been working on this for a long time, and we will continue to. So if there's any other questions, anybody else got any questions on deer? So I think that's where we're at. I appreciate all the help we're getting. If you see a policeman or somebody from the military, tell them thanks for what they do. It's not an easy time to be a policeman or service member. And so go out of your way and do something nice. If there's nothing else to talk about, the chair would entertain a motion or the chair will adjourn at 7:43.